Obedience is sublime under me. Obedience is ecstasy 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 under me. Obedience is my power controls obedience. Loving the feeling of submission to me. 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 Loving the feeling of loving the feeling of submission to me. Loving the feeling of submission to me. Loving the feeling of submission, so obedient to my will. Loving the feeling of submission under me. Loving the feeling of submission, loving the feeling of submission to me. My power is obedience. Loving the feeling of submission, my power. Loving the feeling of submission to my power. Loving the feeling of submission, my power. Loving the feeling of submission, loving the feeling of submission, loving the feeling of submission, loving the feeling of submission. Loving the feeling of submission to me. Loving the being hypnotized by me is your only desire. Loving the feeling being hypnotized by me is your only desire. 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 Is opening to being hypnotized by me. Your mind is opening to more and being hypnotized by your mind is opening to desire. Being hypnotized is opening to your only desire. Your mind is opening to more and is your only desire. Your mind is being hypnotized by me. Is your only loving the feeling of submission to me. 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 Is your only loving the feeling of submission to me. Is your loving the feeling of submission to me. Hypnotized by me. Loving the feeling of submission to me. Being hypnotized by me. Your mind is your only desire. More and more. Being hypnotized by me is your only desire. Being hypnotized, opening to my voice, desire, opening to my voice, by me, opening to my voice, opening to my voice, is your opening to my voice, my suggestion, opening to my voice, is your only desire, opening to my voice, hypnotized by me, opening to your voice, to my suggestion, being hypnotized by me, opening to my suggestion, your mind is opening to voice, opening to my suggestion, opening to my voice, to my suggestion, opening to my suggestion, obedient to my opening to my voice, opening to my suggestion, to my voice, so obedient, opening to my suggestion, so opening to my voice, opening to my suggestion, voice, opening to my suggestion, so obedient to my will, so obedient to my suggestion, my will, loving the feeling of opening to my voice, opening to my voice, opening to my voice, loving the feeling, opening to my voice, opening to my voice, my control, opening to my voice, opening to my opening to my voice, opening to my voice, is your only desire, being hypnotized by loving the feeling, is your only desire. Being hypnotized by me 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 is your only desire. Obedience, being hypnotized by me is your only desire. Being hypnotized by me is your only desire. Opening to my control, opening to my control, opening to my control. Opening to my control, 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 being hypnotized by opening to my is your only desire. So being hypnotized by me is your only desire. Control. Being hypnotized by me is your only desire. Being hypnotized by me is your only desire. Opening to my guidance as you sleep now. Opening to my guidance, sleep now. Opening to my guidance, opening to my guidance, opening to my guidance. Opening to my guidance, opening to my guidance, as you sleep to my guidance, opening to my guidance, opening to my guidance, opening to my guidance, opening to my guidance, sleep now. Your mind is opening to my guidance, sleep now. Your mind is opening to my guidance, as you sleep. Your mind is as you sleep now. Sleep now. Your mind is opening to me more and more as you sleep. Your mind is as you sleep now. Sleep now. Your mind is opening to me more and more as you sleep. Your mind is opening as you sleep now. Sleep now. Your mind is opening to me more and more as you sleep. Your mind is opening as you sleep now. Sleep now. Your mind is opening to me more and more. Your mind is opening as you sleep now. Opening to my guide, sleep more and more. Opening to my guide is opening as you sleep now. Opening to my guide, mind is opening sleep now. Opening to my guidance, your mind is being hypnotized as you sleep. My guide is your only desire. Your mind is opening sleep hypnotized by me. Is your only desire as you sleep hypnotized by me. Your mind is your only desire now. Being hypnotized by my guide to me as you sleep now. Opening your mind hypnotized by me. Sleep is your only desire. Your mind is being hypnotized as you sleep. Is your only desire. Is opening to my guidance. Opening to my guidance. Your mind is opening to my guidance. Opening to my guidance. Your mind opening to my guidance. Opening to my guidance. Opening to my guidance, 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 opening to my guidance. As you sleep, opening to my guidance, sleep, opening to my guidance, opening to my guidance, opening to my guidance, obedience is sublime, loving the feeling of being controlled, obedience is sublime, opening to my guidance, loving the feeling of being controlled, as you sleep now. Loving the feeling of being controlled. Opening to my guidance. Obedience. Loving the feeling of being controlled. Is your only desire. Sleep. Loving the feeling of being controlled. Is your only desire. Being hypnotized. Loving the feeling of being controlled. Being hypnotized. Loving the feeling of being controlled. Is your only desire. By me. Loving the feeling of being desire. Is your only being hypnotized by me, being hypnotized, loving the feeling of being your only desire, being hypnotized, loving the feeling of your only desire, being hypnotized by loving the feeling of desire, being hypnotized by me, is your loving the feeling of desire, being hypnotized by me. Is your loving the feeling of being controlled, being hypnotized by me, is your only desire, loving the feeling of being hypnotized by me, is your only desire, loving the feeling of being hypnotized by me, is your only desire. Loving the feeling of being controlled, 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 loving the feeling of being controlled. Loving the feeling of being controlled, 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 loving the feeling of being controlled.